Hi, my name is Athira Humaira, and this is a presentation on one of the articles that I have chosen, titled Domestic Violence and Vagal Reactivity to Peer Provocation. The reason why I chose this article is because it focuses on the children's development as they are exposed to violence in the home itself. The measures are quite elaborate and the findings are easy to understand with the use of graphs and tables. So, the aim of this research is to study the relationship between domestic violence and the vagal reactivity to peer provocation, meaning how children tend to perceive a situation when they see threat coming their way. It is hypothesized that children with conduct problems who show vagal augmentation in response to interpersonal challenge come from families with high levels of domestic violence. 130 families with preschool-age children around the age of 4 to 6 were recruited to the study through the use of advertisements, newspapers, and doctors' offices. They have an average age being 60.5 months. 62% of the sample were males and 38% were females. As you can see in the pie chart provided, the families are recruited across different ethnic identification, with 88.5% Anglo-European, 62% Hispanic, 3.8% African American, and 1.5% Native American. The families were then further divided into two groups, with 65 families who had children who met the criteria for the conduct problem group and 65 had children who met the criteria for the control group. So, starting off with the baseline assessment, the researcher used an EKG, which is the electrocardiogram, to measure the child's cardiac interbeat interval. It was measured by calculating the time between successive R waves of the EKG. In miniature Beckman silver-to-silver chloride electrodes were applied to either side of the child's chest. A Colburn instrument system were then used to record the physiological data, which was then translated using an analog to digital board, which is the Metrabyte, and a custom program assist in a PC environment. At the baseline condition, the children were required to listen to a neutral story about a boy named Charlie, and then again while they are viewing two scenes of children playing together. The peer provocation paradigm, however, exposes the children to threat manipulation, which involves the child expecting to interact with a peer with whom he might get into a conflict. And then afterwards, the children were required to view 9 standardized video recorded vignettes depicting paid actors involved in a play activity. As for the report of domestic violence, parents are required to complete a conflict tactics scale as a measure of the amount of physical aggression between spouses. Moving on to the results, question 1 asks, is vagal augmentation more strongly associated with domestic violence for conduct problem children than for the controls? To answer this question, the researcher divided the children into two groups. One group consisted of children with vagal tone increased from baseline to peer provocation, and the second group consisted of children whose vagal tone either stayed the same or decreased from baseline to peer provocation. According to the graph, it shows that the highest increase in vagal tone comes from the conduct problem children. This explains that within the conduct problem group, children who showed vagal increases to peer provocation came from families with higher levels of domestic violence than conduct problem children who showed either a decrease or no change in vagal. Next, question 2 asks, does children's vagal response to interpersonal challenge signify a vulnerability for conduct problems that is only manifest when domestic violence is a catalyst. To answer this question, the researcher divided children into two groups, which is one group consisted of children whose parent reported at least one instance of physical aggression in the past year, and the second group consisted of children whose parent reported no instances of physical aggression in the past year. So, based on the graph, it shows how the highest vagal increase goes to the group where father violence is present. This means that there was a significant difference in conduct problem symptoms between those from homes in which father violence occurred and those from homes in which there was no father violence, according to reports from the father's side, and same goes to the mother's side as well. In conclusion, it is proven that conduct problem children who increased their vagal tone to peer provocation came from families with the highest levels of domestic violence, due to the fact that they might have learned to be hypervigilant to even subtle signs of interpersonal negativity, and their heightened vagal activity supports this increase. However, there are a number of limitations to the study. Firstly, the sample characteristics, which is being focused on the conduct problem disorders rather than domestic violence itself. Also, there is a restricted range in the severity of domestic violence, causing lower effect sizes. Last but not least, violence was determined based on husband and wife's report. As marital conflict can occur behind closed doors, nobody knows whether variability in the extent to which the child witnessed the violence plays a role in observed effects. That is all from me. Thank you.